Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Warhammer Vermintide 2 on the Geforce GTX 750 Ti. For performance monitoring, this time I won't be using cam due to Easy Anti-Cheat, which is the anti-cheat software this game uses, so in the meantime I'll be using MSI Afterburner. So Warhammer Vermintide 2, I'll be doing 1080p, 900p and 720p. To skip to those sections of the video, check the description below. So well, first of all, I'll show you 1080p targeting 30 frames per second, so I'm prioritizing quality over performance. Then I just lower the settings to the minimum to see what frame rate we get, and then I'll do the same on 900p and 720p. The game has a lot of options, so you can really tweak how the game looks and performs, even on a GTX 750 Ti, which is from 2014, so it's pretty much 4 years old, which is very impressive if you ask me. But keep in mind that on 1080p I overclocked the GTX 750 Ti, on 900p and 720p the overclock is disabled. So yeah, so far it's a completely playable experience. But now I'm going to talk to you about the options menu and my method of testing with this game. So well, this options menu is very extensive. I'm always surprised by this developer. From the previous game they had an amazing options menu as well. What you want to lower first is anything related to lighting. For example, local light shadow quality, sun shadows, max shadow casting lights, ambient light quality, and then we also have volumetric fog, particles, transparency resolution, scatter density. Those can make a big difference in performance, especially if you lower them in groups. Then another one that is very intensive is SSAO and screen space reflections. Screen space reflections, if you turn it off, is a very noticeable boost in performance, and SSAO is as well, and there's also a sharpening option, which I recommend to use if you select TAA, so it makes TAA look less blurry, but I don't recommend using sharpening if you are below your native resolution. For example, if you have a 1080p monitor and you're playing, for example, at 720p, maybe sharpening is not a good option. It might look a little weird. On 900p I can tolerate it, but below 900p sharpening for me is a no-go on this game. And another one that I recommend turning off is physics debris. Can make quite a difference when there's a lot of enemies on screen. But if you want to take this options menu a little easier and you're not too patient to be playing with settings, maybe just limit yourself to presets and lower the settings that I told you. Since usually lowering things in groups in this game, this one makes the best difference. That's my quick look into the options menu. So yeah, I recommend you play with it. But it's very difficult to get 60 frames per second constant. On the CPU side it's not that bad, I was expecting much worse, but the problem is when there are many enemies on screen. The enemies have an amazing level of detail, considering how many are rendered on screen, and you can just cut them in half, but that makes it very difficult to maintain 60 frames per second. The GPU goes to 100%. In my opinion, the settings that you should look for is between 45 and 70 frames per second. It's 70 when there's nothing going on, and it's 45 when there are many enemies on screen and you're attacking them all at once. And compared to the previous entry in the series, this one has more maps and they're more varied. And so far the one that made me get the worst performance is the one I'm showing right now, which is weird because usually the maps that have a lot of foliage on other games are the ones that kill performance. But for me this one was the one that by doing nothing it's already a big hit to the GPU. There's a lot of geometry, and when you have SSAO enabled, for example, all that geometry makes shading in between. So I noticed that this map was very detailed, so maybe that's why you get a huge performance hit compared to other one with a lot of foliage, for example. But it all depends on how many enemies are on screen, how much transparencies are going on. For example, there are some enemies that throw acid at you and that acid just fills the screen and it's a huge performance hit. So it can be quite variable, but yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
You had that! Merely.
Something there, assassin!
Shut your mother! In the grass! The head garden, not the wall.
Oh, a chaos warrior!
Shot.
here with your gig. One scratch. All right, I get the message.
Look at that armored breach. Or plate heads.
Take that, armored cootie. Sorcerer, lights.
So many kills through my that.
Time.
Lumberfoots, kindly kill that sorcerer before he brings us in felt.
Bombs away.
This is a waste of time.
Oh, lads. They deserve better. Over here, quickly now.
Come, wastelings, you find me ready. I hear a leech on the prowl. Hey, I'll get the pay. I'll let me go. That's all.
That's another leech down. Come on. I have a message from us.
Time for the push. Stormer, bring him down before he comes.
I see a Philistine over there. A
See him,
storm weaver.
Sorcerer? Kill him, and the vortex is done.
Stay together. We all know what's waiting inside. There's just what we need. Over here, quickly now. Time from
So, we can hit a slow, lumbering target after all.
Oh, here come the wizards. Don't tire now, mate.
We've run out of gun. It could be worse.
tunnel, Tom Gay, you're missing the fun!
Here, ammunition.
Go away, Scraps! What? Oh, no, it looked worse than it was. Oh, wonder your empire's on its knees. Here, ammunition! Gates open, and not through choice. Here we are, mates! Healing supplies! We've a fight on our hands now! Fire rat! Careful or you'll burn! Welcome aboard our war! Right here, right now!
All that flailing, but you can't argue with the results.
You fight like a dwarf, a donkey! Spread out! One of us has to reach that flight stormer! Group up! We've a rat ogre here.
Rat ogre!
Not a bat! Come on then, we'll have ya! You're a bit tiny, Commander.
Let this...
All right! Come on! Kill for old Frozr! Oh, solid!
Never die.
It was well struck all the same. Stay together. We all know what's waiting inside. Side by side, face them together.
Light Stormer! Right for Lilia! We've a fire out to deal with, mayflies.
Stay together. We all know what's waiting inside. Dead. Well, this lot are the lucky ones. Listen up. Told knows what the packs will survive.
They're coming, lumberfoots! Fight on! They're still out there. Flames enough for all.
Right out. One of us has to reach. Smells a bit odd, but it'll be worth it. Wait! Watch out! Leeches no more!